All right, got a really good Raw this time. I was like, they trying to build up a little heat, going into this castle, the clash at the castle. We going to the CC pay-per-view. That's what we doing. Anyway, look, um, I was like, I think really because there was really no there were backstage segments, but there really wasn't any talking segments. Like there really wasn't any prolonged promos or nothing like that. And I think that really helped. Uh, you know, a lot of wrestling here, but it wasn't just wrestling for the wrestling, or And I was like, so it's like they didn't just cut out the promo just to have matches. I was like, they had like every single thing here tonight, pretty much like set something else up, kept something going, or like I said, about to get to the Clash of the Castle stuff. So anyway, I was like, there wasn't anything that like jumped out to where it's like, oh, I'm gonna just springboard into that and then talk about the show. So we just gonna really just start with the show because that's really kind of the springboard thing. Is Liv Morgan came out, didn't really. I was like, said basically her being Becky. And she didn't know about the Dom thing, but hey, you all seen the Dom, and we did. They was over here sucking lips that day, and Dom comes out to try to talk, but we all know how that's gonna go. Gets in the ring with Liv, and there really wasn't any talking like that, any of that. It really was, uh, like that. I was like, it was more reluctant from Dom, but it felt like back when you was like early on in your life and you was over here, you know, didn't know how to talk and Liv cornered him and was like, you know what you want, and started doing all the touching and the feelings. And Dom was over here just being like, no, I don't wanna. Maybe I don't know. Over here, and before it got any further, you know how we was all, I felt like half the crowd was over here like, ooh, look, we getting that attitude era-ness. We ain't never gonna get that. But Finn comes out, stops the whole thing, being like, the boy don't want you. Get out of here. Ridden. Don't get. We know what your kind wants. Um, and Liv was like, all right, fine. But he doesn't want me to get out of here. And it's like, I'm gonna be around whether you like it or not, kind of thing. Then she over here, I thought when she was gonna leave the ring, I thought she was gonna go like Stacy Keibler with it. She ain't as tall as Stacy Keibler, so she probably couldn't really do that anyway. Doesn't mean that she didn't do her attempt in the bottom rope. Then she just go ahead and grab a handful of, well, I can't do it, but a whole bunch of that mullet that we all love Dom for, and just like caressed him. And it's funny later on that Pat McAfee like did his little illustrated thing, and that was like when the Dom smiled the whole time. All the other time he was ducking, dodging, and weaving, but right there he was a little bit like most of Liv's fans are being like, that should have been me in that Dolph Ziggler role. Anyway, leaves out, whatever. I was like, come back a little later to it. Come back to it later too. Anyway, so we get basically after that we get Sheamus versus Ludwig Kaiser. I was like, been brewing for a couple of weeks. They had a little brawl last week, so we're gonna get an actual match here. I was like, after Sheamus did his banger after banger after banger line, he tried to go out. Doesn't matter. Kaiser came in, clips his knee. I was like, go to commercial break, of course. Come back in the ring, and that's pretty much the match is a mix of Kaiser taking out Sheamus's knee, Sheamuson, that's a combo word. Sheamus taking a whole bunch of chops to the chest like he wants it, and Kaiser getting beat, but not really. He was still in focus of stuff. And I like also that Ludwig Kaiser move now, do a move onto the steps. I like that being a whole part of his whole thing, because it almost make me think that it's not as deadly and they're not going to sell it that way as like the Randy Orton punt, but it's like an esque to it. Like, not fully. It's not that same thing, so don't come at me for it. But anyway, yeah, but basically, after taking out his knee, Sheamus can only do so much. And basically, Ludwig just instead of the white noise, He just brings that down with the whole knee thing and gets the pin 1, 2, 3. We'll probably come back to it because that's the way it ended. It did. I mean, like Sheamus was rolled up like he could have kicked out, but he didn't kick out. This ain't done with. I don't know if anything gonna be between him and Gunther from all this because he hadn't really beat Gunther. But Kaiser and him, I think they're still gonna keep doing their thing. Later, I was like, then pretty much match we got after we see the Judgment Day all huddled up. Damien looking at Dom like, hey man, you over here messing up. What your girl Rhea thinking we're about to live thing. He's like I'm gonna just give some space, and all of us knows that space is not good. That's one of them key words that's like trouble. So, but then in that he says that basically everybody has like Finn go handle business. He got Dragon Lee, and that's what we got. We got Dragon Lee Finn man, and it was a fun match. I was like, it didn't go as hard as what we've seen of Dragon Lee or necessarily Finn, because I feel like they could put on a pretty good match. I mean, not that this was a bad match, but but the beats of it was that going to get to the point where, hey, Judgment Day is going to roll out, which they did, and basically cost Dragon Lee the match. Cool. I was like, we sort of know how this is going to go. Judgment Day matches. Then after that, we got Alpha Academy. Because Sami Zayn goes to the ring, basically says, Chad, do you want your match? I'm going to give it to you. And Alpha Academy comes out, and they all look very reluctant and hesitant. And basically tells them that, hey, Master Chad isn't going to give you what you want right now. And like, you got to do all these proper things in order for him to get his match. Even though he was giving them his match, so weird on that one. Excuse me. But, anyway, then Sami Zayn like, whatever, okay, I want to talk to all of y'all. Y'all shouldn't be taking this abuse. Each one of y'all crowd is going crazy for Otis. So whenever Otis actually turns, it's going to be crazy to see what happens to Otis after all this. Just because, what do you do with Otis? Will they all three stay something while Chad gets sent off on an island or whatever, something like that. But anyway, in this segment, he's basically trying to be like, hey, wake up from the brainwashing. You ain't got to do this. Chad attacks him in the back, basically start being his ass a little bit. And then it's like telling, like, come on, everybody. Otis wasn't going to do anything. Otis over here, in that shook mode. Chad berates him into the corner, slaps him a little bit. And but about to do it again, Kira Tozawa stomps him, and then he's like, "Oh, okay, you want to do this, Akira? You want to do this?" And then as soon as he's about to hit Akira, Maxine comes in, stops it, and then he's like, "Oh, so now you want some?" Basically, and Maxine's like, "Please, no, don't." And he's like, "Oh, you want to beg proper? Get on your knees and beg." And she like did. Everybody's like, "What? That's crazy." And which I will say that the lines that he's giving, that the way that I was like, I should have stepped back. That basically in that letter, Chad basically berates him by calling Akira basically he playing ninja. Otis couldn't even hold the money in the bank thing, and Maxine is a barber that nobody wanted. And I will say, while I am loving all this, just because I am a guy who I guess that just love cruelty, the stuff he's giving Maxine is really good. Like I was like, I feel like I don't think they know what to do with Akira on the insults. Otis, it's the reason why people love him. You can't really make fun of that in that same way. Maxine is kind of like, you can't go too far, but they're coming up with real clever ways and jab to still get the point across. But anyway, in that, he sends Maxine, Akira up out of here, and he's berating them. Otis finally steps up in his face, and everybody's like, yay. Which allows Sammy to get back up, start fighting Chad. Chad throws Sammy into Otis to knock them all down. They're all hurt on the ground. Otis is really mad, wants to beat Chad, but then he sees Sammy. He eventually picks Sammy, beats Sammy. Chad's like, okay, cool, gotcha, whatever. And Otis does strongman thing and picks them both up. And then on the back, he basically like, good job, Maxine, playing a role, faking your injury. And she's like, it hurts. And he's like, good job, stay in character. Akira's like, I'm hurt. He's like, I don't care about you. Otis, I love you. Smooch. That's what I'm talking about. Anyway, so I'm actually really liking the whole Alpha Academy and all that other stuff. I think I don't know what's gonna happen at the Clash at the Castle. I'm not gonna lie. Like, do you have Chad win and then have them keep on going and then I don't know. Then we get Ricochet and Braun Breaker, and yeah, Braun Breaker destroys Ricochet. Ricochet barely gets any offense. He's still hurt because it's like the second, third week in a row. So he just get annihilated through, destroy, and that's pretty much the end of that. But Ilya comes because he's about to just murder Ricochet, and they're gonna do a match next week. Be interested to see how that goes as well too. Um, then we get Natalya and Kiana James. Uh, Basically, Kiana James is her first match before being called up. Natalya, a good OG vet hand to basically. And to be honest, in their short little, going back and forth, I was like, uh, one, I was like, I was like a lot. I was like, I like that the crowd was really cool in the ways of like, for instance, like Kiana Jane came out. Of course, nobody really knows who she is, but they nobody was being like dicks about it or nothing like that. Her being new, they was sort of like they was like there. They were just there was nothing to grasp onto. So, but they was like ooh and on at the stuff she's doing. Cause I thought she was doing some impressive move, not just like like okay, cool. She knows the wrestling techniques of the flip, spin, grab, grapple stuff, but she was doing like her own stuff, almost like how Natalya, does like the little like split stuff like that. And I was like, she was doing some of her, like her own thing. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Once she gets to the flow of thing, because you could see like where it's like, oh, okay, cool. She just needs a little bit more here. She'll be good or whatever. But I thought it was fine. I thought it was a good match for like, cause what is the box is in. So yeah, and Kiana Jane picks up the victory because we know that's how that goes. Um, Yeah, and I was like, apparently Natalya didn't like that losing, so she's over here trying to maybe set up something with Sonya Deville, who is basically seeming like she's trying to make a team, a faction, I don't know, or just like a agency. I don't know what she's doing. Um, but yeah, and then she talked to Zoe and Shayna, and they was like, I'm not trying to hear that because we got Jade and Bianca. They came in earlier. In their whole lime green outfits. They should have did lime and lemon. That way they could have been like Starry or Sprite or something like that. I'm just thinking on top of my head duos. Um, but yeah, so then we get Carlito, we get Braun, because Damien told Carlito, hey, you need to basically sell the Braun thing. You're going to do it if you want to be in our group. And during that time, R-Truth came in and was like, hey, they're going to beat you. Don't trust them because they're going to beat you again. He's like, bro, it's on the best time of my life. And then the Miz was like, that was on the best time of your life with Judgment Day. He's like, you need to get over this Judgment thing. I don't know what is wrong with you. You're obsessed. Jeez. Anyway, Carlito, Braun. Nothing really here in this match. Braun just destroyed Carlito most of the time. And we're just waiting for Judgment Day to come out. Wish they do. And nothing really happens either because they're all getting their ass whooped. Dom tried to come out, which he took off the sling, which he had on earlier, which I guess he's good now. So hey, whatever, that's cool. Try to hit him with a chair, did not work. And as Braun is going after him outside of the ring. Liv Morgan steps in and is like, hey, leave my boy alone. That's my boy, and did. And because of this, Judgment Day was able to basically triple team him, and then they just wailed on Braun with a chair until I guess he couldn't stand anymore. And Liv just sort of got all up in Dom's face. And until Finn basically decided to be over here being a blocker. And Liv just basically like Toodles, like, she out. Yeah, but yeah, so that's why I said I was like, okay, cool. I wasn't really into the Liv Becky stuff. Liv Dom, I was like, we're gonna see how this goes with Judgment Day. Now I'm a lot more on board. I was like, I'm still not here for like Liv Becky. I don't know. I just think maybe that chemistry is not there for me. But this, I'm all here for. It's gonna be interesting to see what Liv does until Rhea comes back. Just because I'm like, we don't know when she's gonna come back. So there's a lot of time that yes, she could be weaved in and do around with Judgment Day and help and do stuff like this. but is she gonna have any opponents in that time? And also, who do you give her to where we feel like, okay, cool, it's an interesting match that we know that she'll win, but she could possibly lose scenario. I was like, I don't know. I was like, to me, I think it's going to be Lyra, but as like later on, I don't. I was like, I don't know. She's in a judgment. I mean, not judgment day. She's in a damage control thing. So, well, I was like, we'll see. But Jade and Bianca come out, and they, talk a little bit. Jade is hella over. Of course, Bianca is. Yeah, but they're standing there, and they're everybody loving it. So that tells me that Jade is as over as well. Not of course Bianca, she's been there for a while, but you get what I'm saying. Then Zoe and Shayna come out there. They do like a little couple. I was like they exchange some words, whatever, little promo, nothing real serious. And then basically the match is made by Adam Pearce to make it official. You could tell like their promo wasn't. I thought it might be like, oh, they're gonna be at the Clash of Cast, but it wasn't. The way their wording was, it was like it was just waiting to be something happen, which it did. And match was fine. Zoe and Shayna was again really obliterated, really for the majority of the match, until Alba Fire and Dawn comes out there and DQs the match. Basically, and then it just became a 4-on-2, and they just beat up the tag team champions together. But Shayna and Zoe didn't get. They got the loss, and they lost their no one contendership. Maybe. Then later on, maybe Alba Fire and I think it's Isla Dawn is going to get the match at Clash of Castle. I mean, they're both from over there, not from over there, but you get what I'm saying, like over the pond, over the sea, whatever. They're across the waters, and we just sort of group them all the people together, basically. So yeah, so we'll see how that goes there. They're not going to win, but it'd be cool to see them in, because they have them. I think there's only been like 3, and it hasn't even been matches. It's been like battle royal gauntlets type of things. So they haven't really like had a match, I think, on TV, to be honest. And they've been here for like over a year, I want to say. Yeah, about over a year. Anyway, we get Jey Uso coming through the crowd. I was like yeeting, talking to Lil Yeet over here, Lil Oos, basically saying that he's gonna be in the Money in the Bank. I was like, I guess we'll do qualifier, maybe not. Maybe he just got the first one, and then like someone, they'll do the match for like the last 2 spots or something like that. I will say I don't know who's gonna be in it, but I want to say that that's my early on pick, is that he's going to win the Money in the Bank. Like he said he's going to have to deliver on something and give the people something because of how he's, been so close and everybody been riding with him. So I think, to be honest, outside of a heel, because a heel sort of always work with Money in the Bank, he's the only babyface I think you can put it on that makes sense and that can be something every week. And him running into and taking the opportunity of a match as a babyface won't be looked at as not babyface is. Like maybe with Cody Rhodes you couldn't really do it, but with Jey Uso that everybody just like yes, and he's been so close in matches, I don't think it would be something that would tarnish him in that type of way. So I feel like he's early on Money in the Bank for the men's side. Speaking of which, Lyra also basically threw her head in the ring. I don't think she's going to be. With the women, I had to see who's going to get it in order to, because I'm like, I was like Lyra can be. I was like, and if you want to be honest, like out of just a couple of just run throughs in my head, I'm like, yeah, her, Tiffany, so I'm like, I had to see who the competition is. But then after that, Io just come through and just launches her into everything, because Io's been going crazy ever since she lost to Lyra. So that's good to see. I was like, I'm down with Io in full Japanese, just over here just yelling at the top of her lungs and stuff. Yeah, and then after that, we got New Day and AOP, which their match, they they was like they were talking about it earlier, and as they're leaving, Karrion Kross comes in and tells Woods like, "Hey, you ain't gotta follow him much longer." And in this match, I was like, it was a very quick match because the whole point of it was basically to destroy the hell out of Xavier Woods. Uh, Kofi gets distracted by Karrion Kross, who looks ridiculous in a way that I'm like, I don't know what he. I know. I mean, I know what he's doing right now with the Final Testament, but whatever. I'm trying to basically say is he should. He looks like he needs to be in the World Championship thing or a title. He got to be doing something. I was like, but I've also seen some of the matches, and it's like, with me. Anyway, Woods gets destroyed, loses, and I think I was like, I think we're going to everybody. So some of those people's wishes, New Day's going to probably break up, and maybe the power positivity doesn't work. One or two things happen, and maybe this might be enough to do a video, maybe. But because I've been wanting Xavier Woods to get a singles title, not saying that he'll get like a main championship title. I know Biggie and Kofi did, and those situations were different. Where it's like I don't think that he would, especially now. But in some form, maybe you do just to basically try to match like Shield type stuff. I don't know. But I would like to see it. Also, this could be like you about to break up and Biggie sort of returns in some fashion. Not to maybe wrestle, but to try to keep them together. We'll see. But hey, they might break up, which I think it'll be fine. I was like, depending on how they break up. Then after that, we got Rey and we got Damien Priest. And fun man, because Rey Mysterio, even though he's like 70, can still springboard and jump way more than any of us at home. And Priest, being the big guy, is doing big guy thing, but he's also not falling for like some big guy. I mean, yes, he did a couple times, but it was like Rey stuff, not just because he's a big guy. You know how sometimes a big guy running his shoulder into the post. Nah, it wasn't that. It was like Rey Mysterio beats big guy type of stuff. But I was like, Judgment Day comes out. Carlito comes out. Damian Lee, Dragon Lee, whoa, basketball player. Damian Lee comes in, interrupts Carlito. Then I was like, rest of Judgment Day comes out to try to do something about it. Rey Mysterio goes over the top rope, corkscrew. And then tried to go back in the ring. It doesn't matter. Damien Priest does South of Heaven, choke slam over 1, 2, 3. Then basically, as soon as he's trying to be like, yes, I won, Drew McIntyre comes in, who had a little like eye to eye with Damien earlier in the show, and basically started beating the hell out of him. Then he beats the hell out of Judgment Day, and he was about to do the Claymore, couldn't do it. So then he's like, all right, cool, whatever. On the outside of the ring, he goes to the announce table, cleared everything off. But then he walks to Michael Cole and be like, hey, you gonna call me a hypocrite now? Michael Cole like, yeah. And back feel like, egging everything on. But as soon as he turned it back and turned back around, Damien Priest choke slams his ass onto the table, basically proving the fact that Drew McIntyre keeps losing because he takes his eye off the ball, even though he comes at Damien Priest about it. And then they just rise up above him with the title. And it's going to be interesting to see who wins at Clash of Castle. And I'm not going to lie, I'm thinking it's Priest. It depends on how Liv gets involved. This might be one of the first pay-per-views that, hey, we might not just have a clear, concise winner that we all think in our heads. It might be as predictable as that. And it's building up to being a pretty good show at that, too. And the crowd was good, like I said. It was really good. But anyway, that was Raw recap review. Hope you got something out of this. Maybe not. Yeah, I was like, yeah, no, it was pretty good. I was like, I don't know who's gonna win some of these matches, but hey, until next time, I'm out. Peace.